This is the greatest country in the world. No more unemployment, no more inflation, no more workers on strike, and no more violence in our streets. My father says big government is to blame for our problems. And the Jews, and the immigrants, the blacks, the homosexuals, the mentally and physically handicapped. Rats are the lowest form of animal, and Jews are the lowest form of mankind. If we were to get rid of all the Jews, the world would be a better place. That's what the Fuhrer says. Helena! I've been a member of Hitler's youth since I was 7. Helena! We say Heil Hitler when we meet our friends on the way to school. We say Heil Hitler at the beginning and end of every class. The postman says Heil Hitler. The lady who gives us our groceries says Heil Hitler. If our parents don't say Heil Hitler, we're supposed to report them and they'll be arrested. I promise at all times to do my duty for the Fuhrer. So help me God. November 9th, 1938. Germany needs you. Heil Hitler!
My name is Helmut Silberberg. I was born in 1926 in Germany and later moved to Holland to escape the Nazis. My nickname is Hello, which is what Anne Frank called me in her diary. When I was a teenager, I escaped again and hid from the Nazis in a townhouse in Belgium. That's how I survived the Holocaust.
My name is Eva Geiringer-Schloss. I was born in Austria in 1929.
When I was a teenager, I was in hiding for 22 months in Holland. I was arrested by the Nazis and spent 9 months in the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp.
I'm a Holocaust survivor.
What was it like to live through that?
How did you survive?
What made the Nazis so cruel?
Nothing like that could ever happen again, could it?
My grandfather, who lived in Germany in 1933, happened to be on a business trip in Amsterdam, and the day Hitler was elected, he called my grandmother on the telephone, told her to sell everything. He's not coming back to set foot in Germany. He understood something that some people did and some didn't.
When the Germans the Nazis entered Austria in March 1938, suddenly things became quite different for us. Friends which we have had for years didn't want to know us anymore. So I couldn't understand why suddenly I'm different from my friends. And it was something which I really couldn't grasp.
There were people such as my father who thought that this would blow over. The idea being that the German people would never allow this to go on. They're civilized. This cannot happen here. This is as far as it's going to go. And he belonged to, unfortunately, to a group of Jewish people who were wrong. Car pulled up with a group of thugs. They were civilians from different areas with sledgehammers and various other devices.
Schmeißen wir die Fenster ein. Hier wohnen bestimmt Saujuden. Hier ist noch ein Juden. Hier ist noch ein Juden.
Are they gone, Mother? Mother?
My mother, who was at the door, was hit with a sledgehammer over the shoulder.
Jew! Mother, are you hurt? I know, I didn't know what to do. I had sledgehammers and crowbars. They were drunk.
They hit me.
And they were screaming, smashing furniture. They even tore up the carpet.
Your father. Where's your father?
They didn't get
Did
me.
they take your father?
I'm here.
We had a flat roof in back of where we were living. My father was able to get out there. We have often wondered about the reactions of our neighbors who witnessed some of this. And I don't really know. I am certain that there were people in Germany who were abhorred by this, Germans. But not much was done to help the Jews.
It's best if you go to your grandparents for a while. You won't come back, Father. We haven't done anything wrong. It's a mistake. You said yourself. It's too dangerous. We don't know what's going to happen. What do you mean?
We'll be safer with your grandparents in Amsterdam.
We'll join you as soon as we can. If you get scared, remember our secret tune. Yeah?
I knew how to get by streetcar to the railroad station. And on the way, I saw the Essen synagogue in flames, burning. And people from the fire department standing nearby and doing nothing. I was 12 years old. I didn't have a passport at that age, but I had an ID card with my name and...
The Dutch border. 2 guards wearing SS uniforms asked me to step out of the train.
Silberberg.
He's a child.
He's Jewish.
Aber er ist nur ein Kind.
Die werden erwachsen, die Kinder. Den schnappen wir uns.
Kinder brauchen wir nicht zu nehmen.
Wir haben Instruktionen, dass wir alle nehmen von 12 aufwärts. Das sieht mir mindestens nach 12 aus.
Ja, Befehl ist Befehl. Das brauche ich nicht mehr zu hören. Kinder
Something happened. I never knew what. At the other end of the station platform, and they walked away.
And I got back on the train. By the time I reached my grandparents' home in Amsterdam, I had no idea what had happened in Germany.
I always felt that at first they really didn't believe me, why I was there.
But the next day, it is on the radio and in all of the newspapers. The German Kristallnacht, night of the broken glass, had destroyed Jewish businesses and burned synagogues. 30,000 German Jewish men and boys were arrested and sent to concentration camps. I have no idea when I'll see my parents again, or even if I'll see my parents again. I am lucky to be with my grandparents in Amsterdam. For the moment, I am in a safe place.
My brother Hans looked rather Jewish, in difference with me, who is blonde and blue-eyed. And so everybody knew he was Jewish. And his friends from his school, from his class, attacked him one day. And he came home all bleeding, his nose and his eye was cut.
Hi! What happened?
They attacked me.
How?
I was at school. I was just standing there. I wasn't even...
Jews?
They were friends, just kids at school. They called me a filthy Jew and started hitting me.
Why didn't you tell the teacher?
Eva, he was there. My teacher watched the whole thing.
Muti? What did he do? Surely he stopped
He watched, and then he walked away.
Muti!
This was the situation in Austria at the time.
We leave Austria and immigrate to Belgium. And then we move again.
And again.
We're trying to stay one step ahead of the Nazis.
By 1940, we settle in Amsterdam, Holland, where my father thinks we will be safe.
Every month, we will measure you and see how much you've grown. Be safe here. We'll all be safe here.
You're growing so fast, Evie. We'll have to have that dress lengthened.
There was a dressmaker in our block where we lived, and we got there, and she said, "Can you just wait in the hall?"
So I sit down, and I hear a voice behind the curtain. A girl who sounds very determined. This dress needs shoulder pads. Do you think the hem is all right like this? I think that the hem could just be a little bit higher. And shoulder pads, definitely shoulder pads.
It was Anne Frank.
Do you like it? Oh, yes.
I didn't know, of course, that later on I was going to be asked questions about her because she became really a very famous person through writing her diary. She was a very pretty girl, very lively, talked a lot, giggled a lot.
Eva, is he looking? Who? That boy. Don't look. I don't want him to see us looking. Who is he? Just one of my many admirers. Do you like boys, Eva? My brother Heinz is a boy. He's perfectly nice. You have a brother? You're so lucky. I just have a sister, Margot. She's 3 years older than us, and she says that she doesn't even like boys, but I think that she's just a big pretender. He's looking again. And he has a friend. Maybe his friend is in love with you. I don't know. You have to go talk to him. I'm still so new, Anne. I can't speak Dutch yet. I feel strange. Like I don't belong. Eva, you must come to my flat and meet my father. He can speak German to you.
Otto Frank, when I met him first, was a very tall, distinguished-looking gentleman. He right away made me feel very much at home. And he spoke to me in German, which was wonderful for me because I'd just been in Amsterdam perhaps for 6 weeks, and I didn't speak the language, of course. I didn't suspect that later on he was to become my stepfather.
The Nazis came in with their armies on May 10th, 1940, and occupied the Netherlands rather quickly.
After 5 days, the Germans had won the war. They bombarded Rotterdam, and the Dutch capitulated. So then we realized we were really trapped. They started to take the measures against the Jewish population. So life became very, very difficult.
Jews are not allowed to go outside after 8 o'clock at night.
Or before 6 o'clock in the morning.
Posters and signs are everywhere.
Notices appear in the newspaper.
Jews are not allowed to go shopping in certain shops.
Only Jewish shops.
And only between the hours of 3 and 5 p.m.
Now, Jews are forbidden to attend theaters or the movies.
We're not allowed to have the radio.
Which is terrible because the radio is the only place we get information about the war.
And music. I miss listening to music on the radio.
I had a little sailing boat on the Amstel River, but I had to turn over to the Nazis. Jews are not allowed to have boats.
Jews are forbidden to take part in any athletic activity in public.
You can do this and you can't do that. Jews are forbidden to visit Christians in their homes.
Christians are not allowed to teach us.
We have to leave our schools.
We have to leave our friends.
We have to go to Jewish schools.
With Jewish teachers.
Jews are not allowed on public transportation.
Now we can't even ride the buses.
We can't ride the trains.
We can only ride our bicycles.
Then we had to turn in our bicycles.
By the time it became a very serious issue, a freedom-threatening issue, it was too late. There was nowhere, no place to go.
Beginning on April 29, 1942, all Jews in Holland were required to wear the yellow star.
But why do we have to wear it?
It shows you are Jewish. You can be proud of it. There's nothing wrong with being a Jew.
It had to be sewn on the left-hand side of our garment, on exactly a particular spot.
Every outside piece of clothing has to show the yellow star.
Evie,
Listen very carefully. You must always wear the yellow star now. If you don't, the Germans could arrest you.
I was sitting outside with a friend talking. It was a hot day, so my friend took off his jacket, and he didn't have a yellow star on his shirt. An former Nazi saw us and arrested my friend for wearing the yellow star. He's never been heard from again. He was 16 years old.
The Green Police would cordon off a block of apartment buildings in Amsterdam and go from apartment to apartment, ringing doorbells. People would open, they would march in and look for young people.
I was in my grandparents' bedroom one night. The door to the wardrobe was open and I stood behind it. They came in. The police came in, they looked around. They looked in the wardrobe, but they didn't look behind the open door. They didn't see me. They left. By sheer dumb luck, they just didn't see me.
I received this diary from my parents for my 13th birthday. The cover is red, plaid. It's the most beautiful diary in the world. Hundreds of these blank pages. I can't even begin to imagine what I'll write on them. Something unexpected happened yesterday morning. As I was passing the bicycle racks, I heard my name being called.
Anne.
I turn around and there's this nice young boy.
Anne. My name is Helmut Silberberg.
I know. Your friends call you hello. Hello, hello.
Hello, Anne. I was wondering, I mean, if it's all right with you, can I walk you to school?
Oh, yes. I mean, as long as you're already headed that way. Hello is 16, and I think he likes me.
I continued to see her on different occasions, some by coincidence and some on purpose.
I would turn the corner, and there he was waiting for me. He always said that it was a coincidence, but I think that it was on purpose. He definitely likes me.
The thing I remember most about her, besides her ability to communicate, is some of her body language when she was sitting in a club chair at my grandparents' home. She would put her arms under her chin and lean forward, which could be interpreted as being flirtatious.
I was born in Germany, but we moved here when I was 4. I have all kinds of hobbies. I like writing, I have a diary, I love listening to music, and I have a cat named Morge. So, tell me something about yourself.
I come from Germany too. My parents are in Belgium, but there's no way I can get there now, so I'm living with my grandparents. They're a little old-fashioned. They think you're too young for me.
I'm 13.
I'm 16.
I'll be 16 in 3 years.
I don't know whether you can be in love at age 16, really, but I was certainly attracted to her.
So, when can I see you again?
I can see you every Wednesday evening, Saturday evenings, Saturday afternoons, and Sunday afternoons. And maybe even more.
He definitely loves me.
I think I was probably in love with her. She seemed to think so, too.
My brother Heinz, he was 3 years older than me, and we had a wonderful relationship. And he was a very, very talented person. He wrote poetry, he painted, he was a wonderful musician. He played piano, he played guitar.
Did I wake you?
It's all right. I can't sleep anyways.
Sometimes I think I must already be asleep. That all of this must be a nightmare. That if I can just wake up, Everything will be the way it used to be. Remember the way it used to be? If I still had my little sailboat, I'd get in it and float away. Far, far away. To a place where... far away.
And I'd go with you.
Something terrible is going to happen, Evie.
No!
I can feel it.
In June 1942, in the morning, there came a card with the post, which was very ordinary postcard, and it says that
Heinz Geringer has 3 days to report.
Why are they doing this?
With a backpack and a few belongings,
It will be slave labor.
that he be transported to a work camp in Germany.
He's just a boy.
Don't worry, Moody. They won't harm me if I work hard.
the Nazis went after the young people because they didn't want Jews to survive, and especially young people who would be their parents who would have children later. So those were the people they wanted to kill first, so that there would be no new generation of Jews.
I don't want to go.
Of course
You're
you're
not
going.
It's getting too dangerous. It's time we disappeared.
What does that mean?
I've made arrangements for us to go into hiding.
Hiding?
We're going to live with other people.
What other people?
For how long?
Just for a little while. Till the war ends.
A month. 2 months.
You will go with Muti. Heinz will go with me.
What?
Evie, 4 people are too many.
Why can't we all stay together?
It's too dangerous for our family to hide, all 4 of us.
Poppy! I don't want to go without you!
Everett, yeah? Be a grown-up girl now. You must look after Muti for me. God bless you and keep you. If we are in 2 different places, there's more chance at least 2 of us will survive.
We didn't tell anyone about our plans, of course, because you never know what would betray you. My family and the Frank family went probably into hiding at the same time.
Hiding? What does that mean? Where will we hide? With who? For how long? Why can't we all stay together? And what about our home? Will someone else live there? Look out our windows? Sleep in my bed? When will we come back? What about my friends? What will happen to them?
My entire friendship with Anna was limited to 1942. One day I was due to come to her home on a Sunday afternoon and rang the doorbell, and there was no answer. I can't tell you exactly what I thought, but you have to understand that it was not unusual for people to just disappear.
Maybe they got away. People can get away.
I recall that I was very taken aback, that I was sad about it, not seeing her. I had seen her that morning, but that was the last time I saw her.
Maybe they got away.
My mother and me left in the morning and went right across Amsterdam to go and to this new place where we were going to stay with a school teacher, Mrs. Clompe.
Our contact from the resistance came to visit us and said we must have a hiding place within our hiding place.
He said we should make a false partition at one end of the bathroom and tile it with a little trap door.
A hiding place within our hiding place.
They worked very late one Sunday night until they finish it.
They leave and we go to bed.
And in the night, we heard suddenly lorries outside and shouting and knocking on the doors.
And my mother and me, we quickly jump into our new hiding place. We put the trap door on.
And my mother sat on the toilet and I sat on the floor next to her and waited. And a few minutes later we heard the Germans with their heavy boots clumping up the stairs, and my heart was beating so loud that I was sure they would hear it through the partition.
We hear them opening the bathroom door.
We hear them come in.
We hear them looking.
We hear them searching.
We hear them talking.
We hear one of them say, Nobody's here.
They're walking away.
Out of the room.
Down the stairs.
Out of the house.
The door slams.
They're gone.
And this is something, when I talk to you about it now, I feel it as if it's still happening.
We're safe. But I can't sleep for the rest of the night. The sun comes up and it all begins again. In hiding, the minutes turn into days, turn into weeks, turn into months. I'd give anything to be able to walk in the fresh air again, to feel the sunshine, to be free. My mother and I have to sit at this kitchen table all day and whisper. We can't even move around.
Shh! The neighbors might hear you. No one can know that we're here.
But I am here. You're here. Muti, sometimes I lie in bed at night and kick my sheets because I am so frustrated.
Oh, Evie.
I'm 14 years old, Muti. I want a normal life.
Mrs. Clampe will be home soon. Then we can move around. Then we can talk.
Move around? Talk? I want to go ice skating on the canals, drink hot cocoa. I want to go back to school. I want to see my friends. I want us to be a family again. I miss Poppy. I miss Heinz.
If you spend 2 years with one person day and night, of course you have a very, very close relationship. So I was really my mother's everything, and she was everything to me.
I had been to see friends who lived relatively far away. I was late coming home.
It's 10 minutes past 8, 10 minutes past curfew. I turn a corner within a block of my grandparents' home. There they are. German soldiers. They don't even ask for identification. They don't have to. I'm wearing the yellow star.
They didn't say much. They just, one of them took me by my arm and told him to get on the truck.
I am on this truck for about half an hour. There's a young German guard sitting next to me who's holding a rifle and staring straight ahead. I know that if I'm going to escape, this is it. So I push him off balance and I jump off the truck and into the road. For a second, I think I'm safe. And then I look up and I see headlights coming towards me. Oh, I just escaped the wheels from the truck. And I get up and I start running. I don't look back. I hide in the doorway of an apartment building where I know people, but they don't ring their bell. And I just stay here for an hour or so. Finally, when it is really dark, I go home.
So the removal of the star was perhaps part of that feeling that this is enough. In other words, you have to risk this to get out of this in some way.
When I was promoted in my unit to the Hitler Youth, our leaders, they gave me a little puppy. And they told me to keep him with me day and night, to feed him and care for him, to let him sleep with me, to make him my property and my responsibility. The Fuhrer has said, we will be one people, one nation. And the youth, we will be that people, that nation. Helena!
We've been in hiding now for almost 2 years. 2 years of having to be quiet. 2 years of peeking out windows. 2 years of being afraid. But today, none of that matters. Today, I don't feel afraid. Today is my birthday. Happy birthday, Evie.
11th May 1944, it was my 15th birthday, and I was a bit excited. My mother and me went down to breakfast, and we were just going to start eating when we heard loud knocking on the door.
Verfluchter Juden.
But we're just visiting. We're not Jewish.
We haven't done anything.
Ihr Saujuden.
They just marched us down the street and took us to the Gestapo headquarters where we were going to be interrogated. And there was no way we were just stunned into, well, we knew that was going to be the end for us. You know, that was something we had feared for all those 2 years, and it had happened now.
We were put into a small room where other people were waiting.
I didn't know what to expect. I was very, very scared.
We waited and waited.
And then they came for me. Evie.
I only remember their uniforms and their way of speaking. They were always shouting.
Erzähl mal, was du weißt, und du wirst deine Mutter bald wiedersehen.
Tell us everything we want to know, and then you will see your mother again.
Du wirst deinen Vater und Bruder auch sofort wiedersehen.
My father and brother? Poppy Hines?
That was when I had realized that they had also captured my father and brother.
Das ist ja klar, wir haben deine ganze Familie hier.
Of course, we have them as well.
Wie hat deine Mutter das Geld bekommen?
Where did your mother get the money from?
I don't know. Why won't you believe me?
The pure arrogance of them that they could get everything out of us what they wanted. They were the boss.
Wer hat dir geholfen?
Who helped you find places to hide?
I told you. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Wir werden deinen Bruder foltern, wenn du nicht mit uns mitarbeitest.
We intend to torture your brother to death unless you cooperate with us.
No! Hi!
Wir werden dir sogleich zeigen, was wir mit ihm machen werden.
We will show you what we will do to him.
They're beating me and threatening me. Eventually they will realize I know nothing. If I knew anything, I would probably tell them. There's nothing to tell. My name is Eva Geringer. Today is my birthday. I am 15 years old. This morning I woke up. I went down to breakfast to open my presents. And then they came for me.
the 50 years fall back, and it all comes really back to me. This was really the most horrendous experience I've been going through. I knew that we were all four caught now, and we knew about the concentration camps. So I really had to come to terms now with perhaps my life was going to end there.
After that night, when I jumped from the Nazi truck, my grandparents just couldn't take it anymore. And although it was very dangerous to try and escape, it's something I had to do. I am 16 years old. My parents have escaped from Germany and are living in Belgium. I have to try and find them. I have to get across the border into Belgium. But Jews are not allowed to cross borders to travel. If I get caught, the Nazis will kill me. But if I stay, many friends have simply disappeared. Anne and her family are gone. Maybe they got away. Maybe I can get away too. We arranged with a friend of the family to take me across the border into Belgium. We have secret information about when it might be safe to try and cross, about when the Nazis won't see us. We hide in fields, we sneak into Belgium. Several days after saying goodbye to my grandparents, I am in Brussels. I have never been here before. My parents don't know I'm coming, but I have their address. I step out of the streetcar. And there, on the other side of the street, there is my father. We haven't seen each other for 4 years.
Helma?
Father.
How did you find us? How did you get here?
By train, on foot, on bicycle.
But how did you get across the border?
We snuck across.
4 years. We haven't seen you for 4 years. Your mother won't believe how much you've grown.
His mother?
She's fine. Your mother's fine. She'll be so happy to see you.
He was stunned at first and happy to see me, of course, and the underlying feeling was always in some way related to the situation. Like, wonderful, I'm happy you're here, but what are we going to do now?
After we were arrested on my birthday, my family is transported to Westerbork, a transit camp, a kind of holding camp where there are thousands of other Jewish and Gypsy families waiting. A few days later, they put us on another train. 2 days, 3 days.
4 days. You do not know when it is day.
We don't know when it is night.
The train is like cattle cars.
They were cattle cars. It was just big wagons with 2 iron doors. There was nothing in it whatsoever. No bedding, nothing. We got buckets for toilet facilities.
100 people are pushed together in one car.
It's so tight that we have to take turns standing.
Lying.
Sitting.
Sometimes the train stops.
The door's open.
Bread is thrown in.
Buckets of water for us to drink.
3 days.
4 days.
It's hot.
Boiling hot.
The doors are closed.
And bolted shut from the outside.
Where are they taking us?
We knew we were going east, but we had no idea yet where we were going to go. Nobody said anything to us.
Saujuden! Flucht der Mistbienen!
Schnell!
Der Blut des Saujuden!
The train stopped.
Yes, the doors of the train.
Open.
Raus! Raus! Raus!
At least we can stretch and breathe a bit of air.
But then we saw on the platform the big sign, Auschwitz, and we knew this was the death camps. So again we thought, well, that's it. Our last hour had arrived.
Put it on, Evie.
It's hot.
Wear the coat. Maybe they'll let you keep it.
You look a smart young lady now.
Männer auf die eine Seite!
Men and women to different sides.
God will protect you, Evertia.
Männer auf die eine Seite! Frauen auf die andere
And
Seite!
this is when I saw my father and brother, I thought for the last time, and we kissed goodbye, and then we separated. And my mother and me went to one side, and my father and brother to the other side.
Fünfer rein!
And then
Fünfer rein!
another commands, rows of five, rows of five.
Fünfer rein!
And then they looked at the rows of five and sorted through some people to the right and some people to the left.
The SS officer looks me up and down and finally indicates for me to go to the left. Soon, Muti joins me.
Many mothers lose their daughters to the other group. To the wrong side.
All the people who went to the wrong side went straight to the gas chambers and were never seen again.
I'm the youngest person left in our group. As ridiculous as I look, this coat makes me look older and saves my life.
We marched on into the entrance of the camp. That is this very famous picture with Arbeit
We'll
macht
make
frei,
you free.
entering Auschwitz. We were told to undress completely naked, and the SS was walking around freely, poking at us and looking at us and laughing.
Why are they doing this? Muti, tell them to stop!
So this was really all terrible degradation, because suddenly we were not human beings with a name. We were just naked women without name, without belongings.
I don't want a tattoo!
Evie, don't do it so strong. Don't make the number so big.
A5272.
Don't hurt her. She's only a child, my child.
Why do they have to cut all our hair?
And as well with my hair, my mother said, leave her a little bit of hair. And just in the front, I had a little inch of hair, which made me look a little bit less awful.
What happens now? What happens to me?
You have to get up every morning at 4 o'clock and stand for 2 hours appel, which is a roll call.
2 hours? Why will it take them 2 hours?
Because the whole camp had to be counted and then reported back to the SS.
How many women are here? 1,000?
1,000. There were tens of thousands, perhaps even 100,000 of people.
I have to stand here. Why?
You will have to stand there every morning and every evening for 2 hours in any weather.
No talking, no moving around?
No talking, no moving. If somebody sees you move, you will be beaten.
It is now late in the summer of 1944, and we've been in the camp for over 2 months. Sleeping is almost impossible. 10 to a bed. It's itchy and very smelly. At night, the bed bugs fall from the top bunks down onto anyone sleeping below. They're big black bugs that suck your blood.
In the mornings, we get some tea. That's what we get for the whole day. In the evenings, we get a chunk of horrible brown bread.
Some people try and keep part of their bread for the next day, but then people steal it in the night.
If that happens to you, you will starve to death.
At night, see the flames. They burn 24 hours, and you can smell flesh.
You can only deal with it by not believing.
We know. 100% we know. But we say that such a large camp must have so much rubbish to burn. That's what's burning. And just pretend it's not true.
The shower blocks and the gas chambers were built very similar. So we never knew if we were going to go to a shower or to a gas chamber.
They tell people they are going to have a shower, and they're given a bar of soap and a towel. The doors open. People are taken in. The doors close.
Germans were sitting on top, looking through little peepholes to see, after about half a minute, that people had collapsed, were lying on the floor, and were dead. And they watched that, and then after about a minute, they opened the door, and other prisoners, other people who were in the camp, had to take out the dead bodies.
By this time, the Nazis are after the Jews in Belgium, too. So, my parents had made arrangements to go into hiding with a lady they know from the neighborhood who will rent a house on the outskirts of Brussels. We have no idea how long we will be there.
We were there a total of 26 months. We went into hiding in August 42, and we were liberated by a unit of the British Army on September 3rd, 1944. There's a significance in that date for me because that is the day the last transport left from Westerbork to Auschwitz with Anne Frank and her family.
After being in hiding with Mother, Father, and Margot for a little over 2 years, we were betrayed and arrested by the Nazis. We were sent to Westerbork and then placed into cattle cars and shipped off to Auschwitz. Men and women to different sides. We were immediately separated from Father. In the middle of winter, it is unbelievably cold. November, December, we have no shoes, no clothes. The itching, the lice, I couldn't take it anymore. I ripped off all of my clothes and wrapped myself in this blanket. It is all I have. It's not just that we're hungry and dirty and have to work hard. It's also, are we going to live through tomorrow? December, January, why? Freezing. My name is Anne Frank. My name is Eva Geringer. I am 15 years old. Margot and I are taken to another camp, and now we are separated from Mother as well. I have no parents. I do not know if they are dead or if they are alive. I think they must be dead. Mutti? Mother! Poppy? Father! Heinz? Margot! Margot is sick. I wish for a pencil, a piece of paper, a scrap of bread. My feet are frostbit. Sometimes the blood starts to stream through and get a bit warm. And then it hurts very, very much. While I was in hiding, I used to dream of sleeping under the starry night sky. But now, even the moon seems cruel, hollow.
We didn't know exactly what was happening to the people who were being deported. The depth of the crime and the devastation we did not know about.
One night, I wake up because something is biting on my toes. It is a rat, a big rat. It might have smelled the blood. I wish I could escape.
The chance to escape was nil. But nevertheless, people did try to escape. But that was really more out of resignation. They had given up. Because they were always caught. If they stepped out of line, the Germans just let their dog loose and the dogs ripped the people apart. Or they were caught and taken back to the camp, and then there was public hanging.
The SS people, these men, they're not much older than me. You expect people like that to look vicious, but they don't. They're boys. How is it possible for them to be so cruel?
I think it was a way of being trained and educated, and it's a long process of several years to obey order and just to do what they are ordered to do. There were stories going around the camp how it was possible that those Nazis, the young SS boys, became so cruel.
After I had the puppy for about 6 months, after I had kept it with me day, night, fed it, cared for it, loved it, our leaders called us into a meeting, and they told us to bring our puppies. They welcomed us, they praised us, they said we were the future of Germany. And then they ordered me to take my puppy. They ordered me to take my puppy and to strangle him. They said if we didn't, we'd never be chosen, we'd never be SS, we'd never be real Germans. I promise at all times to do my duty for the Fuhrer. So help me God. I did it. I did what I was told. I strangled my puppy. An order is an order. Yes. I have been a member of Nazis' youth group since I was 7. I will fight Germany's total war. It is win or die for Germany. Hallelujah!
We had, of course, no official news what was happening with the running of the war, but we heard aeroplanes, we heard shooting and guns in the distance, and we noticed that the Germans had become very nervous, and they evacuated the camp slowly. They took every day transport of people away from the camp.
One morning, my mother and I wake up.
It is January.
And the Germans are gone. And most of the prisoners are gone too.
I am too weak to go with them.
And I won't leave my mother. There are only a handful of people like me who are able to move around. And we start to investigate the concentration camp.
It is a very, very cold winter.
I was with a Polish woman walking around aimlessly to look what we could find or see. We came across a horse which had been shot.
The horse is steaming from the heat, from the body. The first thing we think is meat.
And the Polish woman said, "Go quickly and get a knife. We must cut into this meat right away before it gets frozen and it's so hard that we can't carve it anymore."
So I went and I got this big knife and we start to cut into this horse, into the belly part. We come across something peculiar. We cut into it and suddenly we realize it is a womb. There is a young horse in it. I
So she said, oh yes, we'll make a very nice stew out of it. And we did. And when I think about this now, I think I just can't believe it that I really did that. But this is the way we were after 8 months in the concentration camp. Food was really everything for us.
Rudy, listen to me. We can't stay here like this. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to go to the men's camp.
We knew the men's camp was in Auschwitz somewhere near, and my mother didn't really want to let me go.
You don't know where to go, how to
I'll find it.
It's too dangerous.
I must go. I'll find Poppy and Heinz. I'll come back for you. We'll all be together again.
Everything was covered in snow. It was very, very cold. There were no roads, no way of really knowing. But somehow I seemed to have gone in the right direction, and I walked for hours, and it was crossfire. I heard guns and shooting, and it was very, very scary. Sometimes I heard bullets flying over my head, and I went to lie low down. But eventually I arrived into the big main camp, which was Auschwitz men camp. And suddenly I came across a man, an old man, who stood there looking very lost. And he looked slightly familiar to me, and I went to him, and he was very, very thin, and a very thin head, and only very gentle brown eyes looked out of him. And we looked at each other, and he said to me, "You look familiar. I think I know you." I said, "Yes, I'm Eva Geiringer." He said, "I'm Otto Frank." And father, I said, "Yes, yes. Do you know where Anne is? Do you know where Margaret? Have you seen my wife?" I said, No, never saw them. Have you seen Heinz? Have you seen my father? He said, "Yes, but they are not here anymore."
I had found Otto Frank, Anne's father, but not my own father, not my brother. Poppy, Heinz, they're gone. But the possibility that they might still be alive helps me make the trip back through the snow. And somehow, I find my way back to the women's camp. My mother is alive. I am alive. Because we've had each other, we're both alive.
About 1 o'clock in the morning, I was lying on a roof of that house, and I saw an armored vehicle turn the corner down the road, and I was holding my breath until I saw the white star of the Allied armies. And they went another 50 yards, turned around, and came back, and in turning around, knocked over a telephone pole. And stopped in front of the house and came in.
All of a sudden, there are 100 people in our kitchen from all over the area. A big celebration. Someone brings in a bottle of cognac. A baker who has hoarded flour during the war starts baking bread. We have a feast. And my mother kisses them all.
That was it. The next day we were able to go out and walk in the street.
After Auschwitz is liberated by the Russians, it takes my mother and I 5 months to return home to Amsterdam.
We traveled by foot, by train, and by boat from Auschwitz, Poland, to the Ukraine in Russia.
To Odessa, across the Black Sea to Turkey,
across the Mediterranean into the south of France,
north to Paris,
through Belgium,
and into Holland.
And there we stood without any money, and we had to get to our place. So we just went into a tram and asked the conductor could we go free? We have no money. We look terrible anyway. We just come from a concentration camp. And they didn't take much notice, but they let us ride free. And we went back to our apartment on the Merwedeplein. There was still somebody in it who had kept it for us. That lady was very happy to see us. And everything, she had left everything how it was. And it was really weird to walk around and see everything how we had left it after 3 years where so much had happened to us. We had gone to hell and back, and there stood all our things untouched.
Evie, what is it?
Pencil marks.
Every month, we will measure you and see how much you have grown. You'll be safe here. We'll all be safe here.
On April 30th, 1945, Adolf Hitler committed suicide, and Germany surrendered. The war over, and we have lost. We have lost so much.
5,860,000 Jews died in the Holocaust.
I was following orders.
5,860,000 Jews died in the Holocaust.
I promise at all times to do my duty for the Fuhrer. So help me God.
My name is Helmut Silberberg. I was born in 1926 in Germany and later moved to Belgium to escape the Nazis. My nickname was Hello, which was what Anne Frank called me in her diary. When I was a teenager, I escaped again and hid from the Nazis in a townhouse in Brussels.
My name is Ed Silverberg now. After the war, I married my wife, Marlise. We live in Hackensack, New Jersey. We have 2 children and 2 grandchildren.
My name is Eva Geringer. I was born in Austria in 1929. When I was a teenager, I was in hiding for 22 months in Holland. I was arrested by the Nazis and spent 9 months in the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp.
After the war, I married Schloss. We live in London, England. We have 3 daughters and 4 grandchildren.
What about Anne and her family? What happened to them?
Anne's mother, Edith Frank, died at the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp. Anne and her sister, Margot, died at the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp within days of each other.
Only Otto Frank survived. After the war, in 1953, he married my mother. We really wanted to make a new family again.
My brother,
My son,
Heinz Geringer, was evacuated from Auschwitz and forced to march to Mauthausen, an Austrian concentration camp. He died there several days before the liberation.
my husband,
My father, Poppy,
Erich Geringer, was evacuated from Auschwitz and forced to march to Mauthausen. He died there several days before liberation.
They have no graves.
My name is Anne Frank. I was born in 1929. I did not survive the Holocaust. I died 6 weeks before the war was over in a concentration camp. I didn't get married. I didn't have children. I didn't have grandchildren. I had a diary. I dreamed of becoming a great writer.
I have never forgotten the type of person she was at age 13. I imagine sometimes what she would have been like at 14, 15, or perhaps 18, and what she could have become.